Excited to be here, and I'm a little sad because I smelled the pizza and I didn't get to eat any, but that's okay. But I'm kidding. I had Sonic, so this is healthy. But I wanted to, first of all, welcome you. And one of my goals is to allow us to get to know each other, because as a service organization, one of the things we have to do is build an understanding of who we're working with so that we can serve the people best, because we all have strengths and we all have areas that we need to rely on each other. This year is my 21st year in education and about my 15th year in consulting, so I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of groups, and to me I think consulting is teaching, and I love teaching. I also am an adjunct professor for Houston Tillotson, and I teach education courses, predominantly pedagogy. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I have two awesome children. I have a son who's turning 6 today, and then my daughter is 14. She turns 15 next week. So I won't say how old my wife is turning, but she has her birthday November 15th, so they're all right around the corner. So at least I don't forget them. It's pretty easy to remember. Mostly what I like to work with is finding adults who I can learn from. That to me is the biggest thing. When we work as a collaborative, the intent is not to be a sponge for me the entire time. I want to be the reciprocal sponge, and you guys are going to help me present. You guys are going to be interacting together today, so don't get your hiney too comfortable, because you're going to be up and moving. You're going to be talking. Hopefully you like each other enough to talk back and forth. You'll notice that there's posters, because you're going to have to do some presentations later. Yay! So that's good too. I hope that when you leave today, if nothing else, it's affirming of the information you already know, because I know how amazing you guys are. And secondly, hopefully you might even sway some of your thoughts a little to help understand who you're serving. A little bit about my son who was 6. He was adopted. We adopted him. We took custody of him at 9 months, and we adopted at 14 months. He's what I like to call a town puppy. He's a child who was removed from their home in Travis County. CPS took him away, and so it's been one of the biggest blessings of our life. So when you talk about what you do, and when you talk about who you serve, it's really special to me, because I know that my child would not have survived if people like you didn't intervene and take care. And I know that you're not technically working with CPS, but you work in concert with a lot of the families that are being affected either by mandated courses or the families who need support when they receive new ones. When my wife and I married, my daughter is actually my stepdaughter, but she's like my daughter. I mean, I call her my daughter because I've been with her forever. But when we first, I say this, it sounds like I'm in the mafia, but when I first joined the family, we actually went through some classes with Starry. And I met her because she used to present and support students at my last campus that I served at as principal. But we actually took courses to help bring my wife and I together on a unified front in regards to how we parent. And it's your love and logic courses. So, and then our daughter got support on how to understand a blended family and the dynamics of that. I don't remember exactly what the course was, but it was amazing. And the biggest reason why is, I think, why educators, and you guys are educators, are so valuable is because you truly believe in what you're doing. You're not chasing a paycheck, because that's not as interesting as, I'm not saying money's not important, but you didn't get into it to be rich. You got into it to be impactful, and you want to get in there and make a difference. And that to me is the biggest thing that makes us, per se, in the service industry different than some others, because your payout is not always that check. We all have bills, but your payout is the success of the people, the family, the students, the organization that you're serving. And I think that, as we begin to talk about today, I want us to look through the lens of you serving, not only as an individual, but as a corporate group to the families in your community. Okay? So I asked everyone to go ahead and start answering the quiz about the poverty, the middle class, and the upper class, and I'm just curious to see how you did. Go ahead and try and finish some of that. I'm really curious. And if any of you can answer the third page, I want to come visit your home. one of the interesting things is you just got through with the Myers-Briggs, and you know, diversity is all about that. It's about understanding not only the needs of people, but their personalities, their the way their thoughts are influenced because of their thought patterns, their schema, their synapses that they're making as they're building their schema. So when you think about that, it's a perfect segue into talking about diversity, because we understand so much about people if we look beyond just the superficial surface level. So have you had a chance to go through some of that? I'm just curious to see, has anybody ever had to order from a menu in 3 languages? No?
I want to know about that one.
Number 5, I have at least 2 residences that are staffed and maintained.
Anybody here? Anybody here?
Mine is called school, and it's Houston Village. Because I live there, it feels like. And I've got plenty of help. But I don't think... how many of you contribute to political campaigns? Yeah. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's
okay.
How many of you belong to more than one private country club or club? Yeah. I belong to gyms, or, you know, to Gold's Gym. So, what I want us to do, our very first activity, is to talk about working together without language. I want from this end to this end of the room, and I won't tell anyone's age, but I want the oldest, the most experienced adult in the room to be on this end, and the youngest on that end, and everyone in between. However, the challenge is you may not speak at all. You may not use your mouth at all. You cannot write messages. You can sign if you know sign, but you cannot speak through your mouth, and you cannot write messages. Other than that, you've got 2 minutes. Go. Oh, wait, excuse me. She wants us to come over here for the camera, so we'll do the most experienced on that side and the youngest on that side. How are you going to do that? Some of you are moving the end. I might have to challenge that. I'm assuming you said 25, not 52, right? Or is that 7? All these shifts. Some of you I might have to do this. I don't understand. Some babies in the room, huh? So if I were, where would I sit?
Be last.
Oh, right there. Awesome. No, I'm not last, apparently. Now, she and I might have something in common, though, but she has a reason for hers. What? That? I'm a little jealous. You can validate yours, I can't. So, what I want us to think about this is we're working as a group. You weren't allowed to talk. I heard a little bit of language, but not much. I saw a lot of motioning. But what fascinated me was there was movement, and some people gravitated towards certain areas just by a view of what that person appeared to look like, right? We often make judgments prematurely or unconsciously based upon the appearance. And some of you are considerably more experienced than you look. Considerably more experienced than you look. So, and some of you, you still live baby, so it's okay.
Good answer.
Young. But the reality is this is what makes a strong organization. Because we learn from the young and new who have new eyes and see things and understand the culture that they came from. We have people who kind of balance on the middle, who have a blend of both experiences. And then we have others who have raised those down there. who influence the way they think considerably. Does that make sense? So I'm curious to see each one of you at a table. When you go back to your seat, I want you to discuss what you noticed or how what you did today, just now, could apply to when you're serving a family or a child. Okay? Go. And be ready to share out. Be ready to share out.
You baby. Baby.
Be ready to share out.
I love it because people want to. I want to stick me down that.
You're stressed and very
I knew I was to be in the middle.
I knew I was
So,
going to be at the end.
what did you notice? Talk with your friends. You have about 2 minutes.
I knew I was going to be down there. I noticed that was maybe. I didn't realize she was going to be
People ask. Yeah. My client does.
What's funny is when they like get into my office.
So when you hear the music start, that means we're ready to start.
They were. Right? Did you just say my go? Did you just say my go? Using me. I think it's mine now. I
All right. I don't want to play the music too loud, but our signal, so I don't have to keep going, hello, hello, is if you hear the music stop in between activities, we'll start it while you are talking. That way you have your conversation and not distracted by others. But as soon as the music stops, I need your conversations to stop. Are we good with that?
Yes.
Give me thumbs up if we're all good with that. So that's a global response. Therefore, I'm holding you all accountable to be involved. So I accidentally sometimes talk about instructional strategies. Just remind me I'm not in college, because I do. Every time I talk, I'll accidentally sometimes tell you what instructional strategy we're using. So we're going to start with the back table. What was something you noticed?
So we talked about culturally how you can make assumptions based on, what people's needs might be, what their wants might be, who might actually be the caregiver for a child that we're coming in contact with.
Okay. All right. Excellent. What about this table here?
We talked about maybe assuming someone would be based on their situation.
Okay.
So maybe if it's a grandparent, they need this, or if it's a young parent, they need this, or if it's kind of a middle of the road parent, they need this. It's not always, they probably have a need, but it could be different.
Okay.
And we might give different information, more information to one than the other.
That's an excellent point as well. What about this group?
We talked about just how we sized each other up and looked and tried to figure out where we fit. That we do that probably inadvertently with our clients, and they do it to us. We're being sized up too.
That's a really good view of that. What about this group?
Just how everybody of different ages has something to offer the organization. And so, even though we may come from different generations, we're all one. Sorry, umbrella. Last we did not talk about the activities, and I'm just trying to go up with things to say. But
All right.
enjoyed it.
What about this group?
I guess just assuming people's life experiences based upon the way they look, or how much experience they may have. Based on the way they look.
Very good. And this group?
We talked about how, well, at least I was thinking about how this end of the room was a little irritated and and then this end of the room was just okay, where do I stand,
Yeah.
And then also I had quite a few you're such a baby, whenever we did the symbol, people being oh, you're young. And not that I was right in the middle, but the people who are older are kind of a little bit like irritated with the youngins, like, get over there.
All right.
So as a
That's
counselor,
great.
I think we can get that from our clients. Kind of like,
Absolutely.
irritated that a younger person is
So,
telling them what to do.
as long as I've been doing this, I'm a little irritated at y'all though, because I fit more over the end on that one. Usually I'm not though. But when we think about this, we have to really think about how our own personal experiences, our own personal life choices, our own personal consequences of our choices influence the way we respond. And then we have to think about every person that we serve, because any service organization has to remember that we're going to serve by cleaning up, but let me get that for you. That we are going to serve each other best by realizing that we might be wrong. And that is a hard pill to swallow, right? So when we think about this, hello, okay, we have to think about how are you defining the rules that you're functioning from? Because your rules might work for you, but only in certain contexts. We have to think about the fact that even though you might be working with someone, a family, a mother, who's the same age as you, she might not have anything in common based upon ethics, based upon values, based upon sibling experiences, based upon home culture, which is considerably different from an ethnic culture. We have to think about all of those, because if you're going to think about what are the rules, you might as well throw your personal rules out for a while. Is that hard to do? It's hard for me, absolutely. What I want you to do now, you all have a clear page, and this is called the Diversity Daisy. I assume that I'd be working with mostly women, so I gave you flowers. So, don't tell my wife. No, I gave 30 women flowers. But on this, what I want you to do is think about as many unique things about you that you can write on the petal. You're not going to talk, you're going to write. Just for a few seconds, anything that you think is unique about you, you're going to write them on the white petals. And then after that, I'm going to ask you, in a few minutes after that, to compare with a group and write similarities of your group in the center of the flower. Okay? Do we understand? Are we good? All right, so you're going to work on your uniqueness now. What do you think is unique about you? Some of them have their whole flower, they're writing extensions. So.
It's hard to come up with it right on the spot.
You don't have to fill every petal, but
Gosh,
I might.
really?
If I were to write about me, mine would be red hair. Not many people have that. What I'm noticing is some of you, this is really easy, and some of you are just staring at it going, what? This is so stupid. Why am I having to do this? That's normal. That's very normal. Don't call me stupid. You can call the activity, but not me. What is unique about you?
That's very unique. That is very unique.
Okay, just a few more seconds on the unique part, and then we're going to share out as a group. So those of you who are my age, you probably like this music. Those of you who are like, what's that song? Who knows? Okay. What I'd like you to do in your group is look at and find similarities. What I'd like you to do is find similarities of the uniqueness that you think is unique about you, and write what y'all think you all have in common in the center. Do we understand? What do you think that was unique about you that when you share out is something common within the group? Okay, it could be 2 or 3 people in common, or all of you in common. But what have you written that you thought was unique about you that someone in your group has in common with you?
I like to gossip. Talk badly about
Okay.
you're talking to everybody else.
Right, what is unique about you?
I don't think I have anything.
But that might be something like, for instance,
I wrote
I
my
could
comment, that's
say,
what I wrote.
I'm married to a woman. None of you say, well, some of you might say that, I don't know, but I would assume you might not. Does that make sense? So what is something unique? You have,
Why that sounds inappropriate.
Did you think I said something about horse?
Oh, did you not say
I did not. I said I have 4 sisters, which makes your comment even
I
more.
know, that's why I heard your comment. I thought you said,
hobbies?
We have a
I said,
I have 4 sisters. She said she has an only child.
why does that sound like horses?
So we don't
Do you
have a
have
horse
horses?
history.
None of us have any.
What do you have in common?
Georgia.
I'm from
Oh,
upstate New York.
Yes,
What do you have in common?
we have lots of common.
I'm conservative.
I like Starbucks. I love
You were so proud of yourself for it. No, but it was bothered that it was on here.
That was very
I was like, I wonder if he knows it's this quite honest. Sure, it kind of takes away the prettiness of
Okay,
it.
about a minute longer. About a minute longer.
You know I hate spiders, so. Can't follow you. We have an intern.
Hippos.
It is how you're she did. So, and one time I made one of the other interns.
how we do.
I'm like, thank you for not using your interns that way.
Oh, no, Sherry would use it texting off on one time.
Okay. I turned the music off, just a clue. What I want you to think about now is, and this is you personally, what surprised you, either because you didn't know something about someone in your group, or what surprised you because you thought you were unique about certain things, and someone else had it in common with you. Okay? So anybody want to share either what you really didn't know about a friend? And remember, we're videotaping, so be cautious. We don't ever want it on permanent record that some of you have been arrested or anything like that. Anybody have something that you found out about your friend that you didn't know?
Kate grew up on a horse farm.
Okay, awesome.
Bill?
Very good. What else? Okay. Someone stated they felt like they might not be independent, but her perception was that she was. Okay, awesome. What about over here on this table? Something either that you found that you thought you were unique and someone had similar attributes, or it really was interesting to find out.
Oh, just that I had Rocky Mountain spotted tick fever when I was little.
Wow.
Almost died.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's very ancient.
Wow. So, the reason why I did this, and I move around a lot, sorry, I have a hard time staying stationary. The reason why we did this activity is for 2 reasons. One, exactly what you shared earlier. We have our perceptions of other people around us, and our perceptions become our reality, right? Also, a lot of times organizations don't realize we have so much in common with the people we serve with. And so we have to be aware that our perceptions, number one, might be different than the reality, and number two, if we don't spend time getting to know things about each other, then we can't capitalize on the strength of this organization. Correct? So, here's this. We have a different activity. We're front loading with several activities because I knew that you ate quite a bit. So, not really. Mostly salad is what I saw. So, in pairs, which means you have to have somebody that's not sitting at your table. Okay? So, I'm going to say that again. Somebody that's not sitting at your table. You're going to discuss your most recent weekend that you've experienced, not the upcoming one, but the last weekend that you've had. And I want you to think about what you can describe, but then every time you use a verb, somebody remind me what a verb is? Action. Something that's an action. Every time you use a verb during the conversation, such as I saw, or I ate, or I enjoyed, then you have to follow it with a synonym for that word. I ate, I devoured, and then the rest of it. So every time you use a verb, you have to use that same verb synonym. Okay? That's going to cause some people to think. And you cannot, I'm just going to give you another rule, you cannot become a select mute. Not an option. Okay? You must talk. So, what I want you to do is figure out who your buddy's going to be, and if it's not an even number, then we can have 3 in a group. That's okay too. But, do we understand our conversation? Yes. Go.
I did nothing. Watch/viewed television.
And I arrived
Some of them are writing their phrases first. Interesting. Very
That's exciting.
Okay, just about 1 more minute.
Oh my God.